Hey, this is Jen. I hope everybody's good. I'm here with an energy update. Today is August 15th, so we have a full moon. Welcome if you're new. Welcome back if you're not new. Thank you for being here. Let's get into it. We have a full moon today. We had something else last week. Oh, yeah, at Lionsgate. And so much has happened in between. So much is also on the menu for what's to come in the next few months. But really, and yes, I've said that before, more truth on the menu, the real truth. A lot of people will start realizing that perhaps some of their perceptions were wrong and in all possible angles. Was that person my real twin flame? Was that person making me feel the way I felt because I needed to understand something? Was that person triggering me? Or was that person making me feel like there's something that I needed to look at for a reason? All of these answers are about to be answered. All of these questions, are about to be answered in the upcoming months. A lot of things will change. Most people, most channels, astrologists, it's always about change. That's because that's how life is. It's about change. If we don't change, we die. So it's about change. And yes, it's coming. And already, a lot of people are feeling this. They feel different. They had that phase where they were feeling out of it, having their heads in the clouds, being like, oh my God, this feels like different. And we're still in that phase. For some, you're just about to get into it. But we are in that phase of so many new energies that we are not used to it. We are not used to that lightness that came with these energies. And that were the eclipses, Lionsgate, the last new moon. That was a powerful one. Extremely powerful one. It felt more like a full moon, and this full moon feels more like a new moon where we start a new cycle. And that last new moon felt like we were ending something. It felt heavy, it felt dense, and that's change. And the only way to go about it is to embrace it and to surrender to it and to realize that it's for our highest good. And when we resist, we are hurting ourselves. So a lot of revealing of the truth, of lifting of false perceptions, lifting of ego-driven perceptions, ego-driven thoughts, ego-driven visions. All of that is on the menu to go out the door so that people can be aligned with themselves and with one another, therefore being authentic. That's where we had a lot of problems in the past few years, past few months. Depending on when you started paying attention to these signs and synchronicities and your spiritual awakening, you may have felt a lot of resistance along the way, and it was a very difficult ride. Still is at times. If you are resonating with being a light worker, which I think we all are at some level, because there is light and dark in everyone. Of course, there are really, really dark people, but for the most part, in my reality, there are more light workers. Doesn't mean that I'm right, though. If you resonate with being a light worker, a truth seeker, and sharing love and light, the truth is just around the corner. It's there. Things will change and flip, like I've been saying in the past videos, like flip the script. That's what's happening right now. And all these physical sensations that we had because of these new energies were meant to help our body integrate and operate on that new level, which is not an easy thing to do. Some people are more affected by that than others. Some people just don't sleep at night, or they are very stressed during the day because of those energies, because it's hard to understand what's going on when we're not used to it. The more sensitive you are, the more of an empath you are, the more you find it difficult to realign with those energies. And the only thing to do is to surrender and to go with it. As you do that, and as you let yourself serve that wave, that's where the magic happens. It's when we start thinking, yes, but I should be doing that. Yes, but I didn't come here to do this and that, that we start creating obstacles for ourselves. And a lot of that is about to be over and done. And a lot of that is about to be over and done for the twin flames. So many twins, people in twin flame connections or divine partner connections, have been waiting for something to happen. This is it. I'm not saying, yay, everybody's getting into union. That's not the point. I never spoke like that, and I never will, because it's all about our personal journey and personal work that we do at the pace that we do it. But things are about to change drastically. A lot of people will now realize that the people or the person they thought were their twin flame is not. It was just there as a catalyst, just there as a person to wake them up or help them wake them up or help them reach the next level. And a lot of other people will stay aligned with the twin flame path and see magic happens, especially for those twins that have been away in separation or not communicating for a long time. This will change. As far as you're aligned with your highest self, your highest interest, this will change. We've seen in the past years, I should say, so many information on twin flame, left and right, on YouTube, everywhere on social media. A lot of that will be cleaned out because a lot of people are now seeing, whoa, I don't know what I was talking about, but it was not a twin flame thing. People that are in this kind of connection, they know it's a totally different path, and I don't even have the words to explain it. And I know a lot of people don't even believe in this concept, and whatever. I'm not judging, whatever, but for a lot of people that are in this kind of connection, the only word that comes to mind is how fucked up this path is. And I know I've said that before, but really it's a different deal. Something totally different. And for some people, they've had clues and synchronicities before even knowing about the twin flame connection or about their twin flame. And twin flame is just a label. It doesn't matter. It's what's coming out of it. It's how this is serving humanity, how this is serving Earth that matters, how you are serving this connection, which for the past few years, I've seen people using the term and the label twin flame, all the while not really serving this path. This is out the door or about to be out the door because there's no more space for this. And you can think of twin flames as just two people that are really aligned with one another or misaligned for a little while, but that they have the same essence. But in reality, physically, they are opposites on some levels. Not all, but on some levels. And the work is about reducing and accepting and surrendering to those opposites to reach the level of unconditional love and unconditional forgiveness. People who have been in twin flame connection had a lot of forgiveness to do. And until that work is done, nothing else can happen because there are blocks. And when you're on the twin flame path, you're taken on this level of releasing and healing that is beyond this world, beyond this world. And anybody on the ascension path for that matter is. I was listening to, what was it? I think it was from the Leo King, the Astrology After Dark. And one of them was saying how you release from a cellular level, and I cannot agree more. I was speaking about this a few years ago. I'm still talking about this because it is the truth. We are releasing stuff that is beyond this lifetime. And mind you, before my real big chunk of spiritual awakening, which wasn't, I don't know when exactly. It was before 2009. But it happened in steps and layers. But it hit really hard starting in 2009 and then 2012 and this and that. But when those phases and layers started, I was like, oh my God, what is happening to me? Because this is not normal. I must be going crazy. And I did go to the doctor. I did go to a psychologist and talked about this, talked about a few things just to be sure. But I had nothing. I came out with a different perception on this after investigating. I mean, I knew that I had nothing wrong, but I was like, what the hell is this? Where's this coming from? This pain, this thing that I feel leaving my essence, leaving my soul, leaving my energetic body and my physical body. Where is this coming from? And before that started, I was a non-believer in past lives. I was a non-believer in most of the spiritual stuff that I talk about now. This is the crazy part. I had no choice but to believe it because stuff kept happening where I couldn't say it was a coincidence, where I couldn't say this is a synchronicity. I reached the point where I said, this is proof. This is proof. I'm seeing it. You're seeing it. This is proof, unless we're all crazy, which maybe we are, but who knows? And why I'm talking about this is because a lot of people will go through that kind of healing and releasing very shortly, as if there is a mass awakening just around the corner, just about to happen. Like one-on-one, people will start drastically changing their visions, their perceptions, their way of living and seeing life. Suddenly realizing, hey, I'm done with doing this. This is not me. This is what I want to do now. So, and a lot more spiritual stuff will be accepted. A lot of people are seeing this in their lives because they started aligning with people that are pretty much on the same level. But still, I myself noticed it in the past 2 years or so, how people went from being very closed off to a lot of spiritual stuff to now talking about it. How people that used to be very cerebral, like an engineer or a web developer, how they are very cerebral and non-believer in energetic stuff or the law of attraction. I'm now seeing this huge shift where they are opening up, where they are believing it, where they're like, but this thing is true. And they were totally opposed to it a few years back. The same thing happened to me, especially for past lives. I was like, no, I don't believe that we have multiple lives or multiple dimensions. And until I did my first past life regression, which still to this day, I'm like, this is unbelievable. It is, first of all, such a powerful tool to heal, to get information, to understand what's playing out in our present, current life. It's crazy how powerful it is. And the first time I did it, I had no expectation. I was looking for a specific answer, but I was not attached to getting the answer. And the answer I got was just crazy. I was like, I don't know what this means. For 2 years, I didn't know what it meant until I met my twin flame. And that was crazy because I had no idea of this twin flame thing. blah, 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 blah. And like during the past life regression and right after, I was like, did I made this up with my mind? Was this all like a huge show going on in my mind, or was this real? And 2 years later, I had like confirmation and validation of why I saw that. And for some, it could be a very different experience. What I want to pass as a message is that the way Spirit talks is through channels. Wherever there's a space, Spirit will try to pass on that message. Whether it is through someone, a synchronicity, a past life regression, a meditation, when you are meant to receive a message, you will receive it. And when you look too much for a message, that's where we start making stuff up. That's where we start being in our ego. That's where we start receiving all kinds of stuff that are not necessarily messages for us. So we need to be using our discernment here and realize that for the past few years, a lot of people that were talking about twin flames and spirituality may not have passed the real messages, but that's fine. That phase is over. Something better is awaiting for us, for all of us, and all of us are ascending. That's a question that I was asked before, and I wanted to address because I don't have the answer. I don't know. I never pretend to know the absolute truth. I just speak about my own experience, and I like to believe that everyone ascends, but we all have a real life person in our lives that seems to not be ascending. And to me, that's strange, because when I see a person like that, I'm like, this person is so stuck in his mind or her mind that they're not seeing the beautiful things around this energy or available to them, and they get worse and worse and worse month after month or year after year until something bad happens, either an accident or a disease or death, even death. I've seen people dying. And I like to think that with each problem, with each accident, with each disease, there's a spiritual side to it and a spiritual lesson to learn. The disease is there for us to understand something. And if you look at people in your surrounding, the ones that are resisting the most, those are the ones that are getting all the accidents. And silly accidents like bumping your head, but like getting hurt pretty bad that you need stitches, that kind of stuff. Like, it makes no sense. And they keep on repeating and repeating and repeating the same things. This type of behavior will unfortunately have a really hard time in the upcoming month, because the pressure will be on. The pressure is on, but will get denser and denser as we go along. And that's why I think that everyone ascends. That's why I think that everyone at some point or another has a spiritual awakening, has some form of, oh my God, I'm done with this. Let me try this from now on, like a huge shift in perception. And I also believe that it doesn't stop. We keep having these shifts, just like the earth spins, just like the sun rises in every day. Like, everything is a cycle. So we do go through these cycles, and it really depends how we want to deal with them and how we choose to deal with them. That relates to, is it easy or is it not easy? And for some people, the very extreme sensitive ones, it's never that easy, because we do feel the collective, and the collective is not always all bubbles and rainbows and butterflies. And lately, we've been in this dense collective energy, a mix of all kinds of dark emotions, of pain, of depression, of resistance, of sadness, a lot of sadness. So a lot of purging was going on. We've been through a phase that is just closing with this full moon, a big purging phase, cleansing phase of, look, dude, what do you want in your life? And what are you going to do to go get it? Because at one point, it's good to sit down and to meditate and to pray and to use the law of attraction and to want things and to desire things. But at the other level of this, something needs to happen, and this happens through action. As we take an action, as we take a step forward, as we try something, that's where we start putting the energy in motion for us, and that's where it starts showing up in our lives, which is where the magic happens, because it's not always what we try that works, but what matters is that we try. It's that we move and we do something. So all of this in the upcoming months is going to start to like snowball, have a really big snowball effects. And a lot of people will be turning around to other people and to say, hey, you're really inspiring. I really want to be more like you, or to be adopting more of what you do to see if it can work for me. And much more alignment will come out of this, because lately that's what was going on in the collective. It was a huge clean out of misalignment, misalignment between the heart, the mind, and everything. And I often say the heart is the leader, the heart is the driver of our lives and not the mind. So we are going through this transformation at this point. Like chest pain is really big these days because our heart chakras are just expanding, and it may feel something like, whew, my chest cannot handle the size of my heart kind of thing. Like I feel like my heart is too big for my chest kind of thing. It feels like my chest is going to explode because my heart is painful. We are going through growing up. Really, we went from taking baby steps to, okay, we're standing up and we're walking now. And some people will start running soon. And since we all work at different pace, well, some people are still taking baby steps. They're still crawling on the floor, but they're on their way to standing up and walk. And for those that are running, well, thank you for your work. Thank you for your service. We need more people running. And it's coming. That's the phase we're in. So if you've been seeing a lot of changes in yourself that feel foreign, that feels strange to you, that feels different, just allow it to show up and unfold. You'll see it's here for a good reason. It's here for the merge of the divine masculine, divine feminine energy, and that merge is like off the charts, like that dark side that the masculine was still carrying is almost all gone. For some, not for everyone, but for a lot of people, it's almost all gone. So now it's a matter of integrating these two energies within one person, twin flame or not, within one person. If you're a female, learning to use your masculine and your feminine side harmoniously. Same goes for the masculine. And a lot of people are having a hard time with this because we've been programmed for centuries that women should be like this and men should be like this. And it has nothing to do with our real nature. Our real nature is that we have both energies. And especially in today's world, if you're a single female, you have to be in your masculine a bit more. But it's about balancing that. And the other way around, if you're a male and you have kids, you have to be in your feminine more. And there are many, many examples of that we could use and talk about, but this is what we're in, really balancing these two. Being able to recognize, okay, I'm too much in my masculine right now. I'm just going to step back and become more calm, reconnect with my feelings. The masculine has been having a lot of difficulties with that, because for a lot of them, it was like, boys don't cry. They're providers, they're workers. They don't cry, they don't show emotions. And what they failed to realize is that so many people had a hard time in relationships because the female were seeking sensitive men, seeking awakened men that were close to their emotions. And the male were still playing that role of, no, I'm the provider, I cannot show any emotions. But really, I assure you, a balanced male and a balanced female is a very sexy thing. And that's what we're working on right now. Collectively, that's why it's been so heavy lately. It's been so dense and hard to move forward. So many people were just like, oh my God, I feel like a train passed over me, ran over me. I cannot move at all. So no worries, this is all changing. Having a feeling of coming home, that came up last week. I'm going home. For a lot of twin flames, for a lot of people, that feeling of, yes, I'm coming home. I can feel it. I'm almost there. I'm almost in this space in my life where I'm stable. And when I lose that stability, I'm able to just regain it very quickly. It's a very different kind of energy that we've never seen before, that we envisioned for a long time. A very so different, and energy so different, that a lot of people are like, okay, this is too good to be true. When is the tower going to fall? Because I am feeling that it's all going to crumble, but it's not going to happen. As long as we are aligned with our heart, and if you look at light workers, the overall message is always align with your heart, be in harmony with yourself, be in harmony with others, love more, unconditional love, forget these programs, get out of these programs. I want to say get out of the matrix, but that's almost impossible in my opinion, because we are in a society where the matrix is everywhere and we must do with it. We must, but it doesn't keep people from being spiritual. So that's what's unfolding. That's what's playing out right now. And it's really wonderful to see. It's only a matter of time. If you're not seeing any changes or drastic changes in your life right now, give it some time. Surrender to this. Give it some time. It will happen. And again, it's all about us being in harmony within before being in harmony with others. There's no possible harmony outside if we're not in harmony within. It's fake harmony. It's superficial harmony. And it's about sustaining that harmony, that love, that forgiveness. Still, lately, in the past 2 weeks, a lot of people had some forgiveness to do. Old stuff that came up to their attention or awareness, especially last week that was going on, and at the beginning of this week that was going on. Old stuff that hurt people a lot, and old situations that brought a lot of pain came up to be released for the last time, to come home. And rest assured that when that happens, no matter who is involved in this situation, on the other side, they are doing the work too. Whether they want it or not, something is happening on their side. If you are forgiving and really truly letting go and just sending these people out, with love, like bounce out with love, doesn't mean that that's exactly what they're doing, but they're doing some part of their work that they need to do at this time, which is, for example, seeing things differently, seeing the situation differently, or suddenly acknowledging that maybe they were wrong and they treated you wrong or whatnot. It's always a mirror effect, a ripple effect that's happening. So whenever that happens, pay attention. Who is in your energy at that time? Who is in your awareness or consciousness at that time? What was the situation? What was the subject? And ask, what do I need to understand from this? What do I need to do about this? And if it feels like dense and really heavy, for sure there's something to look at. It hurts and it sucks to have to go there, but we have to in order to heal. And it feels lighter. If it feels lighter, most probably you're ready to let it go completely. And again, it's a cycle, just like breaking up with someone. You don't heal in like 3 months. Even if some people say so, I don't believe it. I don't. You don't heal in 3 months. You weren't really in love if you heal that fast. It takes time. You may feel better after 3 months. You may feel like going out with other people after 3 months, but you're not healed. It's going to come back in your consciousness. You're going to have to take a look at what happened, take a look at what you did, how you behaved, and where you need to forgive yourself, where you need to forgive the other person, and where you need to learn your lessons, especially for those, for example, that were involved with a narcissistic person. Forgiving themselves, which is, I'm talking about this because that's what's going on in like the divine masculine, a lot of narcissistic stuff coming up for them to forgive and move on from, which is not an easy thing to do because it's hard to be mad at ourselves. It's hard to say, I did this to myself. How stupid was I? It's easy to judge our own self. So lately, a lot of stuff like this came up to a lot of people's consciousness to be released from the collective, which is good, which is how those new energies were able to reach us, for us to integrate. So for what we're looking at is a complete change. So a lot of physical adaptation to be done, a lot of sleeping to be done, resting to be done until this is balanced out. And as far as physical stuff, appetite and eating, I'm sure that a lot of you have been having a difficult time eating or completely changed your diet to eat like very differently, more lightly. That's normal. That's what happens when we go through huge shift like that. So basically, this is what happened during eclipse season. We're still feeling the effects of that, the changes that were brought by that couldn't be felt so much before. Now we do, and we're moving forward, and until, I don't know, the end of the year or so, it's going to be a different deal, different life, new earth. This is the event happening, a small dose at a time. I know there was a commercial about that with that slogan. I can't remember, but it's the event, one step at a time, a small dose at a time. Imagine how it would be if it was all one day. That would be crazy. So we're looking at a more aligned divine masculine, a divine masculine more present in their heart, more softness overall in people, more calmness, even though it may not look like it right now, even though it may look like shit is about to hit the fan, there's always the calm after the storm, and sometimes a storm is needed to move on. So that's it for now. Thank you for being here. You can follow me on social media. I've been more quiet this summer because I needed to rest, but I'm still present. On social media, on Instagram at IndigoGirl555, on Facebook at Indigo Girls Readings. You can also reach me by email at indigogirl555@gmail.com or in the comments. If anyone has any questions, go ahead and ask. Except personal questions that I won't be able to answer. But go ahead with the comments. I love reading all of them. And thank you so much for being here. Until the next time, be well.